What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
Game night. Had a game night with some friends a few nights ago. It's this thing. I'm sure other people, adults, have it, but for me, as somebody who has very little of a life in my life, I focused on making this podcast, editing this podcast, and doing all my artwork and editing all my artwork. Like, I spent a lot of time in front of my computer waiting for iMovie to render or YouTube to upload. Kind of focusing on that. And then on the few hours a week that I have free, I need to actually make money to pay some bills so I can survive. So it's very hard for me to mix in, and I like my alone time. So it's, but it's fun. It was fun. And, it always feels good. It's been a while. So it feels good to kind of take a break. And I drank way too much, and it ruined me for half of the next day. But only half of the day. I was able to get a few things done later on. But anyway, game night. First off, if there's a game that you enjoy playing, maybe you're one of these game night people and you have some go-to games that you like to play, for sure send me suggestions in the comments of this episode, wherever you're watching it or listening to it. But we played a game which regrettably is a game by Fuck Jerry, the people that steal content to gain followers on Instagram. They also produced the Fire Festival documentary that's on Netflix, which is the lesser of the two Firefest documentaries. It's more beautiful. Has more beautiful shots, but they're also the people that did the marketing for the Fire Festival, so they kind of did the marketing on a big scam, which I don't know how culpable they are for doing that, but overall, they like to steal content on Instagram, which is kind of, it's a weird thing weird time we're living in where content is something that people put I put a lot of time in it. It's pretty tough to steal my stuff. I'm sure people could steal my Photoshops. I don't do the best job at always, I like to hide my logo in Photoshops that I do usually, but sometimes I forget to put the logo in there. But I know, and I have the original files, or I've posted it online. Like, I've probably posted it before. I mean, not probably. When I do it, I post it online. So, anyway, this game we played by Fuck Jerry called What Do You Meme? What Do You Meme? And it's kind of like Cards Against Humanity, but in meme fashion. So there's a deck of pictures that are derived from popular memes, and you pick a picture, and then everybody submits. They all have 7 cards with sayings on them, and you try and pick your favorite saying to go along with the meme, and each person becomes a judge, whoever picks the card, and then they choose their favorite one, and bada bing, bada boom. It's a fun kind of twist on it. I enjoy it. I thought it was kind of a fun game. It really depends on, like, the picture really can dictate whether you have good cards or not. Like, your cards could be just complete dog shit for so many pictures, and then, like, literally one of them was a picture of Barack Obama putting a medal around the neck of Joe Biden. That was the picture. And somebody had a card that literally, I don't remember what it said, but it literally had Joe Biden's name on it. And it was, it was still fun. And in that same round, somebody else had a card that said something like about a politician or a vice president. Like, it was mildly related to the picture, or, pretty closely related to what was on the card. And then the next card right after that was literally the name of Joe Biden and a funny thing. And so, she won. She won that card. I did horrible in this game at first. Same thing with Cards for Humanity. Always, like, you have to it takes a while to gauge everybody's sense of humor, right? Because sometimes I go too dark, and maybe I'll get laughter in things, but that doesn't necessarily mean the person who's judging will choose my card. right? Just because I make the group laugh doesn't mean it's relatable to the person. You kind of get like a few of the people there, they have kids, you know, like a lot of them. I was in the minority of people that don't have kids, which is like, you know, all their kids were there doing their own kid things while we were playing the adult game. And every time, like, we had to pause the game for, you know, a kid having a meltdown, it was like I felt good about not having kids. Like, I felt so good about just being a single guy with I don't have like any of that drama. Like, it really made me appreciate the life that I have, to see my friends with their own kids and the huge just headaches that would ensue having children. I can't, like, it's so far, I don't know. I don't want to have kids unless I can afford like a nanny or some shit, right? And then until then, I'm holding off. But yeah, the game was fun. I was horrible in the beginning, but I started reading the room, and literally we're picking cards that were like just at all mildly related to the thing, and I started winning. Like, I was on a crazy run, and I ended up almost winning. And I got like second or third place overall out of what, like 6 people were playing. But what do you meme? It's a fun game to play. It's it's problematic that the money, the people that produce it, is the fuck Jerry people, which I wouldn't recommend supporting them. I didn't buy the game. I just played it. So, you know, I feel less culpable with supporting thieves, internet thieves. But there's a lot of games out there. I mean, this trend, there's a movie game night, which was a really fun movie. I would highly recommend watching. If let's say you're having your own game night, right? And you butt it up with a movie, right? Maybe you play a game and then you watch a movie. Game night, the movie, why not? I mean, it's a no-brainer as far as it's a fun movie, but it's also a no-brainer for like a movie night with people that do game nights regularly. But do you have, as a watcher, listener of this show, do you have a game? You know, there was like Seen It, which was a DVD game, trivia game that I used to play at parties, whereas movie trivia, that's always fun, unless you're, you know, some people don't know movies, so then it's kind of a bummer for them. You know, Trivial Pursuit's fun, but then, you know, if you're around like people that just are uneducated, you know, maybe they think you're around a lot of people that think the earth is flat, or maybe they're truthers, or, you know, they feel like they're professional at something because they've watched enough YouTube videos on it, which is potentially a real thing. That's actually studying for something. But, you know, you could feel bad if you're playing Trivial Pursuit around some dum-dums because, you know, it's just, you need to be somewhat smart. I think it's been a while. It's been like, man, it's been a long time since I've played Trivial Pursuit, but I remember it being tough. Some questions just being really tough, and I don't know if I've educated myself over the years enough to correctly play Trivial Pursuit right. The one thing with Trivial Pursuit that I always had the problem with is I'm colorblind. So, for a long part of my life, I was just in denial and tried to just cover it up and not let people know. So it was very difficult to pick the green wedge from the brown wedge because they looked like two slightly different shades of the same color to me. So that was always a little tricky. But other than that, game night. What are others? I remember there was a website, Liquid Generation, that I would go to, and they had a bunch of fun games that I'd play like early 20s, 2002 time. Anyway, send me your recommendation. That's it for this episode. New episodes come out daily. Subscribe on IGTV and everywhere else podcasts are found. Binge the full week in advance over at patreon.com/Inspired Disorder. InspiredDisorder.com for all of my original artwork. Go buy some paintings now. Save 10% when you use coupon code INSPIRED when you check out. At Ray Taylor for me on all social media. Have a great day, everybody. Peace out!